Welcome to the ultimate podcast experience with conversations about politics, religion, finances, and the meaning of life, and all the other subjects and stories that Nana told you not to bring to the kitchen table, and a whole lot more. Join our hosts, James the Red, Eule B. Bach, and Sam the Slippery Smooth Producer as they settle the ultimate question, have y'all heard about this?
What if we just jumped off this mountain right now?
That's what I ask myself every morning when I wake up.
Plus, Tuesday, Thursday, I could do what I want to do as well.
It's all just grit and determination.
Reload this MG42. You don't get it. You don't even understand the contest.
I think we ought to stand up and give you a hug right now.
I'm still keeping my networking ears out, seeing if I can get us an in.
What is this dummy thinking?
They're like, yo, dude, you just like golfing in my climbing area, man.
Good morning, Chattanooga.
Hey, everybody. How you guys doing?
We're live and rolling.
All right.
After 15 minutes of stumbling through, we just started over, and here we go.
This was a mulligan. So.
A mulligan.
Yes. So those of you that don't know what a mulligan is, Yule's going to tell us, because we're going to dedicate this podcast to some golfing stories.
Wasn't he the first one in flight? No, I'm just checking. I'm just checking.
So welcome to the Have Y'all Heard About This podcast this morning.
Well, I'm excited to let you guys know that today we are going to have some content due to listener request. So I've actually been asked to tell a few stories that go way back for me. As you may or may not know, I'm a semi-professional golfer, which means occasionally I gamble and lose money. No, I love to golf. And when I was growing up, I remember getting my first set of clubs. I was probably 12 or 13, and just, like everybody else, you just stink at golf. It's a hard game, it's just hard even to hit the ball, much less perform at the level that you watch people on TV perform.
Yeah. And it's really hard to wear those little pants and the hat and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just...
Payne Stewart was still dressing like that.
And then, drape your wrist a little bit. I'm just joking.
Tell you what, Arnold Palmer would pummel you.
Listen, honestly, I think the best thing about golf is cigars and Miller Lite and the golf cart. I mean, is that still a thing?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
And Trump hats.
Oh, yeah. If I was playing golf today, I would be riding around in my cart with a Trumpy bear.
There's a guy that I play with on Signal, and he met Trump at one of his hotels, and I think, got some pictures taken and got his son. This is after the presidency. This has been within the last year, I think.
He's still president, isn't he? I thought he was still. Sorry, my bad.
So but he comes back, and dude, he's got like Trump national teas, Trump national, like any little like trinket he could get, he was passing them out. He was like campaigning on the course that day. It was funny.
So I think Donald Trump will put his name on anything.
Absolutely, especially if you'll buy it.
Yeah.
Especially if you'll buy it.
You got $1?
We got to start doing that. Have y'all heard about this, like golf tees and...
Well,
pacifiers.
I'm glad you can get, there's a company out there, I can't remember who, I probably should remember their name, maybe they'd sponsor us one day, but they put logos, like personalized logos, or your name or something on your golf ball, which, to your wife probably sounds like a great idea. Like, I'll get him that gift. Right. But what happens is, and I've seen this happen on courses before, is if you're a prolific ball loser, you'll come back one day and like somebody will have like 30 balls like in your locker that they found that you lost to like tell you how crappy you are. So I actually found one of those the other day, and I thought, this is, we're going to do this joke. We're going to get whoever's golf ball, like whoever lost this, and the inscription printed on the golf ball said, "None ya."
None ya?
None your business.
Oh, none your business.
So they knew, like, don't put your name on the golf ball. You're going to get in trouble.
Well, you don't use the same golf balls over and over anyway, do you? I mean, don't you retire them after? Like, do you keep playing with them?
Well, I typically, it's funny you say that too. I played with a guy years ago, and he was average at best golfer. And after about every fourth hole, he would retire the golf ball and said, "I knocked the compression out of it." It's like, dude, that ball's got 1,000 more hits in it. Trust me.
Give me 1 second. There you go. I keep hitting that. So
Sam just dropped his clubs.
Sam just wrestled a bear to the ground right here in the middle of this building.
But if my ball hits a cart path or a rock or gets a pretty bad scuff on it, I'll, depending on how I'm playing, I may or may not continue playing with that ball. But
you should just use that ball and then blame all your playing on that ball.
Dude,
I thought you played them until you lost them.
I typically do.
Oh, okay. Good.
I actually ran out of balls the other day. It's the first time that's happened to me in years.
What do you mean you ran out? You just knocked them all in the woods?
Yeah, woods.
Do they have a convenient
Woods.
little stand next to it, but it's really elevated, the prices because it's convenient,
I love how Eule's like, yeah, this friend of mine was average at best.
$30
like, in the next sentence, yeah, I lost every one of my balls.
No, I'm below average at best. I'm not, listen, I know what good is. I'm not good, but I know when other people aren't good too.
It's like, when you see
takes one to know one.
Exactly. So they I think they're pretty reasonable at the pro shop. They charge what you would probably pay for them at Academy or one of the golf stores.
Do they sell any high-lows?
Yeah, high-lows. They sell Miller High Lifes. No, tees are free where I play.
Man. Is it a membership though?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not free.
The membership's $875,000 a year.
And it's not Chattanooga Golf and Country Club. Remember, I've not been invited yet. Hint, hint.
We'll see. I'm still, still keeping my networking ears out, seeing if I can get us an in.
There you go. But no, I typically lose my balls. That's their demise. I'm not now. I like at home. I've got a big Home Depot 5-gallon bucket, probably full of balls, but it's just stuff you pick up that you don't want to play with. But here's the thing. So I've played golf a lot, and when I started playing, I feel like I got progressively better. And then when I went to college, I had a lot of time to play golf, a whole lot of time, because I double majored in political science and history. And, you just have a lot of time on your hands when you have those majors. And so I tell you, man, this is a winding story, I know, but one of my roommates, in college, shout out to Chad Hester. This may be as big of a social media thing as Chad's ever done, is hearing from us on this podcast. I'll have to tell him. He does listen. He was one of our first reviewers of the podcast, not online. He just sent me a text and really kind of pumped me up to go to the second one. But Chad and I were roommates, and we would play golf every single day. And the way we did that, you talked about golf being expensive. At the University of Alabama, at the time, there was a course called the Harry Pritchett Municipal Course, I think. And if you were a student, you could pay $100 per semester and play all you wanted.
Dang, that's a good deal.
And there's 3 semesters.
And this is back in 1965?
55.
But still, I mean, $100 was a lot of money back then.
This was in 93 to 97 for me.
Wow.
And so, but there are 3 semesters, right? So you have fall, spring, and summer. You don't, it's $300 a year. Play all you want. And we'd come out of the gate in the spring. We'd probably, I don't know if I ever bought a membership in the fall. So spring and summer, $200, but you had to walk. Now, if you got a cart, you had to pay more, right? You had to. So if you had won a couple of bets on the golf course, next day you might ride, but we walked. I mean, so we were in good shape.
And walking and driving is completely different, right? As far as just your experience.
Well, I'll tell you this: it makes you watch that ball better, and it makes you try to hit it better when you're walking.
Yeah, interesting.
It's like, man, like if I screw this up, I've got to go.
Yeah. What do you think? How many miles do you walk if you play golf and you're just
18 holes?
That's a good question.
6 miles?
No, I don't think it's that far. Let's see. Let's just say that there are 9 holes. I mean, there are 18 holes. And let's say on average, if you count the par 3s and the par 4s all together, on average 400 yards. And there's probably a little bit more than that, but it's not 500 average. So, well, I mean, most courses I think are playing like 6,800 yards. What's 18 times 4? 18, 36, 72. Yeah, so let's say 7,000 yards. And so a mile is 1,710 yards.
Something 17? Like that, yeah. 1,600.
So it's 17? Like 4 miles.
Maybe 4 miles if you walked it all.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good exercise then. I mean,
absolutely. And plus you're carrying the bag. you're carrying the bag, so
Yep.
it's in the heat. I mean, I've got all the excuses for why I play bad. But Chad and I would play every day, and Chad's an early riser, and he was in engineering. So Chad would like to put all his courses at like 8 and 9 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock, maybe, I don't know if he'd go hit study, hit the library and study or something or whatever. But I remember in the summertime, I had this technique of taking one class, so that I told my parents I had to stay down there in Tuscaloosa, and I'd take one class, and if I could get it, I'd get it on Tuesday and Thursday, and then I had 5 days to do what I wanted to. Plus Tuesday, Thursday, I could do what I wanted to as well.
Because it's one class.
And but Chad and I would play every day, and I remember in the summertime he would roll into the apartment at approximately 1:15 from he'd been to class and all that, and
Right.
I'd still be asleep, and he'd come
Gosh.
bang on my door. Yo, if you want to play golf, we got a 2 o'clock tee time. Get out of bed. I was like, all right, man, let me throw on a hat. And we'd go to the golf course and play 18 holes.
Nice.
But he wrote a Facebook post that it was eloquent and just touching, and it probably meant more to me than he'll ever know. And but me, it was myself and Chad and another friend named Lance Mitchell, and that's probably the first time Lance's name has ever been mentioned publicly. Lance, very private guy.
What kind of school was this?
No, Lance went on. He's already retired. He's like our age, and he's retired. And I'm like, how'd you do that? He goes, I taught. 25 years, I taught.
Yeah.
It's like, sweet.
He was a high school teacher or something?
Yep.
Got like the pension going on or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he double dipped. I think. Well, maybe not. I know some people will go into like Mississippi and Alabama, get 2 retirements.
This is the first time Lance has ever been mentioned on publicly, and now he's being investigated for tax
sold
fraud.
out for the audit, Lance. It's all coming home to roost. But let's see, I think in the fall, I went over to the Shoals area, and
Muscle Shoals.
And
seen that name
Lance, Chad, and I had probably not been together physically in 15 years, maybe 20 years. And I don't know how it came up. I know how it came up. Chad asked me, had I listened to a podcast called Chasing Scratch? And so we started listening to this golf podcast, and we just started reliving the glory days. And he said, next time you come into town, let's get together. We'll play golf. So Chad, Lance, and I got the band back together and went and played. And it was like it's like we've been playing every day.
Man, that's good.
For 20 years.
Those are good
I
friendships.
love friends like that.
Yeah.
Yep. So great guys. And we played decent golf that day. We didn't, we weren't hackers. We certainly weren't pros, but we had a great time doing that. And it just was so fun, to kind of rekindle that friendship. I've tried to call Lance 3 times since then. He won't answer the phone. Typical Lance.
It's ghosting you.
Nah, that's Lance. Lance is kind of a ghost, actually.
So maybe you guys can help me figure this out. I feel like hanging out with guys specifically, and like I was thinking about like you telling that story, you brought up a lot of like college days, like just hanging out, going on hikes or whatever around Lookout, and like just the different friends I had. And something I've noticed about, at least when I hang out with guys, and I feel like it's reciprocal, is just like, a lot of people call it like, I'll bleep this out, but like shooting the shit,
Yep.
and it's like just sitting there, and I don't know, like what is that about guys that we just want to just sit there and just like, sometimes it's we joke about talking about nothing here, but like we'll literally just just say,
Yeah.
I love just saying stuff like, what if we just like jumped off this mountain right now or something, just something like crazy that's like we're never do, or like it's just some weird scenario, and just like kind of just, it's like almost like you're just kind of like pushing at each other.
Well, I think there's a couple things. Have you ever seen that cartoon show called King of the Hill?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
If you watch that,
It's great.
So just the fact that in every episode you have all 4 of them, Hank and Dale and Boomhauer,
Boomhauer, I think.
yeah, and then the other guy, and there's long drawn out protracted scenes where they don't do anything but just stand there together.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's something about being together, and you just know it doesn't matter what we do, we're just gonna we're gonna be content just to be here with each other. And so that's
Contentment's a good word for
it's even Sam. Listen, if you want to take it to the next level, and I truly mean this. Mm-hmm. Throw a steak on the grill while you hang out with these guys.
But it's like I almost get emotional about it now. Like just thinking about some of my good,
Sam's
like
crying.
not about steak.
I would be crying if I were you.
But just thinking about the times, and I don't know, you probably feel the same way. Like just thinking about the times, it's like, but we didn't really like talk about anything deep. But it was just, it was something about having. I think it was like something about having, somebody right next to you that you knew, like, again. You're just kind of shooting the shit right now, but you like you'd have each other's back. I don't know, something weird to that dynamic.
This happens to me all the time where I'll go out and hang out with some guys, and it doesn't matter what we're doing, where we are. We could be shooting, we could be just going to get a cigar or getting a beer, or somebody, it doesn't matter. Like whatever guy group it is, I'll come back and Tara will ask me specific questions about their wives or things they're doing. And I'll be like, I have no idea.
I don't even know if they're married.
She's like, well, what did y'all talk about? I'm like, we just were like,
I'm
what?
sure they think we're just talking about like most like obscene stuff. Like I think sometimes I was like, what are y'all?
I know. She's like, you didn't ask about how his wife's doing. She had surgery, 6 weeks ago. I'm like, I didn't think about it. We were just there.
I'll give you a glimpse into guy mentality. Years ago, I worked with a guy in the insurance business. His name was Rick. And he was a big cut up, but real dry sense of humor. And we went on a sales call one day that I was his manager, and we were supposed to be there. And it's the day I was riding along with him, right? So we have this sales call, and he's like, "Yeah, I set this up a couple of weeks ago. They're expecting us. We're going to do an insurance review and upgrade some things and change some things and all that." And we get there, and there are cars everywhere, like everywhere from out of state at this house. I was like, "Rick, are you sure we're supposed to be here? Did all these other people beat you to it?" Or he's like, "No, something's going on." So we go up there and knock on the door, and this girl answers the door, and Rick says, "Hey, we're here to do an insurance review with Mr. and Mrs. Smith." And she said, "Oh, well, we had a death in the family. Our uncle passed away, and everyone's in town, so it's not going to be a good day." And Rick goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Was it anything serious?"
Oh no.
And she goes, no, just had a stroke, died,
It was just serious enough that he's dead.
Death.
Like he never cracked. Like I got in the car, I was like, dude, I'm gonna kill you. Like
I've said stupid stuff like that before though, like where it's like you just say the wrong, and you're like, why
it's like when you walk up at a funeral and you haven't seen your cousin in like 6 years, and you're like, "Hey, how's it going?"
And
he's like, "Well, my dad just passed away." It's like, oh.
Hey, we used to have the worst. We used to talk about this with a company I worked for. We sold like atypical antipsychotics and antidepressants and stuff like that. So you're selling meds for people that are in pretty bad shape. And
right, the kind of meds that make people shoot up,
right. Well, and
Thanks,
exactly. And one of those was for so people wouldn't shoot up a grocery store, but it was for schizophrenia. And
the other one was so they would, and then you had to really watch the dosage on there.
One was the red pill, one was the blue pill.
We had this. We would do role play, right? So you be the doctor, I'll be the rep, and we'll come in and
you take this AR-15.
Yeah,
James, give him a chance.
But we'd go in and we'd most of these reps are just so chipper. Just everybody's chipper and happy and, "Hey, doc, good morning. How are you?" And so we would all be observing the role play to give good feedback. So Sam, here it would go something like this: "Hey, Dr. Sam, how are you today?"
Doing good.
Good. Great to see you. Hey, I just want to stop in today. I know you told me in the past that you've got a patient population that's kind of difficult to control, and I was just going to say, have you seen any patients lately who had schizophrenia?
A few.
Oh, great. Mm-hmm. So anyway, and we'd stop and we're like, "No, that's not great."
Great.
Why did you say great?
The great, yeah.
Like
I used to do that with mattresses, and like somebody would be like, I'm thinking great, like great, I know this now. Right. But they'd be like, "Yeah, I've got back pain." I'm like, "All right, great." And then I'm like,
"That's wonderful."
Dude.
And what you're saying is,
what he's saying
music
is
to my ears.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, I don't know how we got on that, but that's so good. All right, so I'm going to go in and tell you guys a few funny golf stories.
Okay,
and some of them I can't tell. They're not to be repeated. But this is probably, I think, the one that made me the angriest, and I truly have told this story probably 28 times because it's still so fresh with me and how I feel about it. So in tournaments, sometimes in addition to, having the lowest score, it's not as always as cut and dry as that, like you would see on the pro tour. In county golf, like you go around and play in a tournament, the three of us could go get a 3-man scramble, for example, and that's going to be a select shot thing to where all of us hit, and whichever was the best of those three, we all go hit that one, and then whichever's the best of those three, and then you can go low. Like 3 people get an attempt at the same shot, the best shot. So in a lot of tournaments like that, in that style, they will have some side prizes. So closest to the pin on a par 3, longest drive on a few of the par 5s, straightest drive. I've seen that a few times. And, they'll just put a rope down the middle of the fairway, and whoever gets closest to that rope, wins that prize. Yeah. And that one's not a prize of distance, because the rope, like you could hit a 9-iron to that rope just to try to get it really close, and other people trying to bomb a drive. So you've got to think about, what do I want, distance or accuracy?
Right.
And so
that's what I ask myself every morning when I wake up.
I'll take accuracy. So recently, and it's funny, in one of the games that I play in at my club, I actually won closest to the pin on a par 3. And I think, and honestly, I told him that. I was like, take my picture. I think I'm 46 years old. I've been playing golf for 33 years. I think this is the first time I've ever beat the field on closest to the pin. And it wasn't even a good shot.
But this is like one shot off the tee, closest to the pin?
Yep, on a par 3. And so everyone gets a chance at it. And say you get up there and somebody's already on there. Well, you got to get it closer. And then if you get it closer, just move the marker up and put your name on it. So I just have never won these types of things. And I'm certainly not going to win a long drive, because the people that can hit it a long way can really bust the ball.
Yeah, like the John Daly's.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm losing long drives by 40, 50 yards easy, to some of these guys.
Why don't you start working out, Eule?
Well, you would be surprised. It's not even about that.
Oh, really?
Is it all technique? Is like one of those
well,
things?
It's
I'm not
all
saying
just
fitness
grit,
doesn't.
determination.
Fitness does play a part, I think, but you'd be surprised at how small some of the guys are on tour that can hit the ball 330 yards.
Maybe is it just like range of motion and like dynamics?
It's hand-eye coordination. It is timing. It is. Here's the key. If anybody wants to know the secret to golf, hit the ball in the center of the club face. That's the key.
Yeah.
Let the club do the work. But here's my story that I've been getting off my chest. This is maybe the 30th time. I'm going to archive this. If I ever feel the need to tell it again, I'm just going to tell my golfing buddies, hey, go listen to HYHAT number 11, and you can hear all about it. And,
okay.
And I'm not going to
get the number right too.
So some buddies of mine and I showed up to the Montlake Golf and Country Club in beautiful near Saudi Days.
Yeah.
That's up on Mowbray Mountain. Is that right?
Man, it's a cool little course. It's very short.
Is it?
But it's up on the mountain. It's got some very panoramic views. It's so pretty, and as you can imagine, it is just up and down and sidewinding.
Yeah,
and while it's short, it's also challenging because you've got to put balls in the right place,
in a very specific spot.
Yeah, or they'll just go off the mountain. Basically,
is that course still open?
I don't know. I'd like to go up there and see. But
hey,
I'll tell you
with
one cool thing about that. I think it's the 17th or I think maybe it's the 18th hole. They've got the green surrounded by huge boulders. Now, I'm not like they didn't bring the boulders in. They put the green in between these huge boulders.
It's on the mountain. It's already, there's like big boulders there already.
Yeah. So when you're approaching the green, you've got to hit you can't hit them. You hit these big rocks and that ball will shoot off anywhere. Boing. And while the first time I played up there, I was on this hole and I would just occasionally hear, what is that? And it's climbers up on the kind of in the woods. There are all these boulders, and they'll have those fall pads below them, and they climb and then just fall and boom, hit that pad. While you're playing golf, it's kind of distracting.
Yeah, I can imagine. Because golfers and climbers really aren't the same kind of people, are they?
Oh no.
They're like, yo, dude, you just like you're just like climbing, you're just like golfing in my climbing area, man.
Dude, fitness is something not required in golf, but it is in climbing, I promise you. So we're up at the Montlake Club one Saturday. We show up, me and some buddies, and we just want to go play. I want to show them the course. And we get there, and there are all these cars there, and we walk in, and they're like, oh, sorry, you can't play today. We're having a tournament. We're having a 3-man or 4-man tournament, whatever it was.
That is the worst.
And I was like, and we'd driven all the way up there, and I was like, well, how much to enter the tournament? And they're like, well, it's $50 a man or whatever. I was like, all right, we'll play if you got a spot. He goes, yeah, we got a spot. You want to play? I was like, yeah. So we get there.
Nice.
We did not play well. We in a field of maybe, let's see, you would have had, let's say there were 18 teams. In a field of 18 teams, I'd say we probably finished 15th or 14th. Like, we did not.
Man,
we were
you
not
guys
competitive.
stink, honestly.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
We're not good. However, they had some prize holes. They had closest to the pin, a long drive. They had a straightest drive hole. So there's one thing I can do decently, which is hit the ball down the middle. Sometimes. I mean, like, most of the time I'm pretty consistent. And when I was playing a lot, I was very consistent with the driver. And I get up there, and it's the hole itself, the fairway is slanting a little bit from left to right because we're on a mountain. So to get it in the middle, you've got to kind of hit it left and let it hit up there and roll down a little bit. And I execute literally to perfection. Okay?
Nice.
Hit the ball. It's up on the top, and it starts rolling down. It starts getting slower and slower and slower as it approaches the rope, which defines the middle. And the ball comes to rest against the rope. So to define that, it would be like on the closest to the pin par 3 hole, you just hitting it in the hole. I mean, it's the equivalent of me having just hit a hole in one on the straightest drive hole.
I love it.
So I get up there, and I'm like, guys, I won. Like, I've won this. You can't be beaten. I can be tied. I cannot be beaten. So
unless someone knocks your ball. Can they knock your ball out?
No. I go and replay my ball, and I leave the marker there with my name on it. Like, this is it. Just like as I was saying on the par 3, you may get up there, and people ahead of you have said, well, I'm, here's the little marker. I'm, 6 feet from the hole. Well, if I hit it 2 feet from the hole, then I just move the marker, put my name as the next name.
Yeah.
How much cheating happens in golf?
Well, you're about to find out.
Oh, okay. All right. I am.
Honestly, it's not supposed to be. Like, in tournament play, you're supposed to play by the rules. A scramble is kind of designed like you're going to cheat a little bit because it's just not not cheat. You're not playing by the official rules of golf when you scramble because you put your ball kind of where you want to and within a club length. And in real golf, you play everything down.
Yeah.
I don't play real golf ever. So I get up there, and I'm like, guys, like, I've hit the rope. So I get the marker, and I write my name on it, and I write in parentheses, ball touches the rope. Like, I can't be beaten. Like, don't hit one up here 1 inch and think, that you've beaten me. Like, my ball rests against the rope.
Wait, and what are you writing this on?
They've got like a little placard, like a notepad on a pole. Basically.
Oh, so that you can record how well you did?
Yeah, so you get the little pole, and you just stick it wherever the shot was.
Okay.
Right? And I can't stick it through the rope, but I put it right next to the rope, and I wrote, ball touches the rope.
Right.
So we get in, and we're turning our scores in, and it's pretty apparent. Like, there's no sense in sticking around for winning the tournament. We've not even finished in the top 10 in a field of 18, And but I've got to stick around to get my gift card or prize or a gift certificate or whatever it is for my side prize, which they do afterwards. So they start calling them out, and they're like, closest to the pin on hole number 3, and they call the guy's name out, and he comes up and gets his Applebee's, $15 gift card or whatever. And so we're sitting there, and I'm just beaming like, I can't. Well, I've won something,
You're like Ralphie in the Christmas Story.
Yeah, dude. I think that's the best explanation of how my anticipation of that Dakota ring was for Ralphie. So
it's the leg lamp.
I sit there, and they finally get to this, straightest drive hole. And the straightest drive goes to Bill Wilson. Or, it wasn't Eule Glenn, I'll say that. I'll tell you what I was worried. I was just worried they were going to say Eule, because that happens to there's a whole other. There's another place. We were playing a tournament one time. They actually called my name. They had my name backwards, and they said, "Up next, Glenn Eule."
That happens all the time.
Actually, actually put your dad's name in our CRM at the mattress store like that, Glenn Eule.
Because you didn't know me.
Yeah.
Oh, Sam. Details.
No, I mean, I
baby.
just put it in the wrong field.
Oh,
But
yeah. Well, Glenn is such a common first name.
Yeah.
People do that all the time. And then nobody knows what Eule means or Eule, so they just assume I'm some Swedish German guy with a weird name.
I mean, Yule's not that uncommon, is it?
it's.
I think
not.
spelled the way mine is probably pretty weird.
How's it usually
I thought of it
spelled?
being
With no
German.
E?
though.
Yule.
Yule.
Why?
Yule or
I don't think
Yul.
It's like
I think
reload this MG42 with me.
Dude, we completely just went off.
EWELL.
So Bob Wilson wins.
Yeah, we
wins
just come out the
straight
Christian.
drive.
So, dude, I'm just like,
You're like
What is-
conspiracy.
what is this dummy thinking? What is he thinking? Like,
Yeah, I touched the road.
It'd be the
What are you
equivalent
talking about?
of me having a hole in one on a par 3 closest to the pin, and someone saying, "No, I beat you because I was 6 inches from the hole."
It would be like being the best president in the history of the United States with the best economy and still losing the election to someone who can barely even eat his oatmeal. You would be like, what in the... Like,
Well,
that
let me
wouldn't happen.
say this, and since you referenced that, I would say that my golf career took a slide similar to the U.S. economy after the that you just spoke to.
He went into a tailspin,
So
a drunken
I
stupor.
don't like throw up my arms in protest, right? Like I don't like, hey, y'all are wrong. Bill can't win. But I went over to Bill, and I said, "Hey, buddy,"
He's like, I know what you did, Bill.
I said, "Would you just explain to me how you won that? Like, tell me about your shot." He goes, "Oh man, I busted one right down the middle. It was long." He said, it got up on that hill on the left and it started trickling down. He said, "I bet it come within a foot of that rope."
Oh my gosh.
What?
I said, "Well, Bill, as you can clearly see on this placard, I've written, my ball touches the rope. It can't be beaten. You could have tied me, which you're admitting you did not, but
Dude,
your ball
You'll
doesn't touch the
throw it
rope.
down.
Like my ball was straighter on the straight drive hole than it actually was resting on the definitive marker of what a straight drive was." He goes, "Well, I was way past you."
past you. He thought it was
I was
furthest
like, "This
and
is
straightest.
not distance. And, like, you don't get it. Like, you don't even understand the contest that you've snookered me out of." He goes, "Well, do you want to split the money?" I said, "No, I don't want to split the money.
I want the trophy.
I beat you. I won."
Do you want to split them?
And he was like, "Well, we can take it back up with the tournament committee." I said, "You know what? Keep your gift card." I said, "But do yourself a favor
Enjoy
and
losing.
go home and get on the interwebs and type in what straightest drive means in a straight drive contest."
I mean, there has to be
I'm fired up still.
You sound like you're fired up. And what was that gift card? Was it an Applebee's gift card? Because that's big,
no,
that's a big deal.
no, I think it was the Hardee's.
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 That's even better. Have you had their Hardee's biscuits?
It's like I know it was worth fighting.
They're
for.
unbelievable.
And it wasn't the prize. It was just like I finally won something.
Yeah. No.
and
I
then
hear you.
somebody,
This gets
you know,
taken from
just
me.
cheated me out of it.
Yeah, but Yule, I mean, you literally couldn't hit the ball and have it go like 3 yards, but straight. And
That is
win.
correct. I will say the ropes started maybe 100 yards from the tee, so
Oh,
you
okay.
couldn't hit one 5 yards.
So if you hit the rope
couldn't
100
putt one.
yards out,
Yes.
you still would win if you're closest to it.
Correct.
Huh.
I should have just left my ball.
Well,
there.
how are these rules defined? I mean, are they clearly defined before the tournament starts?
Well, as Bill said,
there
you
house
have-
rules?
Who's judging?
Are there
this?
course
Yeah.
rules? Or are they like, no, at Mont Lake, we don't do it like that?
well, as Bill said, you've got to take that with the tournament committee. Listen, it's not
But
even.
who declared that he won?
He did. Because I went back to the tournament committee. Okay, I did go back. And I said, "Hey, just a heads up." I said, "My ball was touching the rope on this." And Bill said his wasn't. And they said, "We just pay the price of the last name on the thing." You know, because like if you better someone, then your name goes below them. And then if you better someone, your name goes below that.
I'm confused, and this is completely on the honor
Okay.
system.
No, yeah, it's on the honor
And
system.
so this doofus just wrote his name and just said I did better than you,
That's right.
and he won
That's right.
a gift card to Hardee's. I'm fired up. I want to find this guy.
I've been wanting to go back up there.
Let's go.
How big a boy are you? Well, I left defeated, but cheated, and I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to forgive Bill. I don't know.
I think we ought to stand up and give Yule a hug right now.
I'm just wondering of like the political ramifications of this. Like, if it's that easy to, it's that easy to cheat on golf.
Well, listen.
Well, this poor old guy's eating his sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit, and he doesn't feel good about himself. You know what I mean? Like,
I bet
that was
Probably
the
sat
worst
on the
biscuit.
toilet.
I
for-
hope he was the guy that you banged that bathroom stall to. So that is one of the stories that I've been requested to tell.
To retire.
And I think I see now why, because even this many years later I get mad about it.
No, I get you.
However, here's another one that when we lived in Huntsville, we were members at a place called Valley Brook. And there are actually two stories I love to tell about this one. One was a buddy of mine, Jason Landers. Jason, I'm mentioning you. Aren't you happy? He's like, I'll listen to every single one of these. You never say my name. You talk about David Little every other day. No, Jason is one of my closest friends. Love this guy to death. His wife and their son they're actually coming up to visit today.
Nice.
And they're passing through, I think. And Jason's a great dad. He's got his son so involved in baseball, and his son is just, I mean, he's a phenom. Like for his age, he's only like 12. I think Anthony's 12.
He's 5.
But a great, great player. Much because of how much time and dedication Jason has put into coaching him and having him coach. So, but Jason was out there at the there was a tournament, and I think it was like American Heart Association tournament, and they had a putting contest, and I didn't realize like what the contest was. I think I didn't even show up for it because I can't remember what I thought it was. I thought the putting contest was going to be closest to the hole.
Feels like having flashbacks.
But what it actually was they were having a prize, and I think it was $5,000 that they were going to give away on this putting contest. Well, what I didn't realize is there could potentially not be a winner. Like I thought it had to have a winner, but no, it was kind of like a hole in one. Like if you get a hole in one, you win the car kind of thing. Well, this was you had to make the putt, and if you made the putt, then you won the prize. The putt was 70 feet.
Wow.
Like it was a big, not a horribly sweeping, but it was a breaking putt, but it was a long putt. I mean, it's just
70 feet.
Nobody's going to make this putt, right?
Yeah.
And so, except for Jason Landers, sank the putt. First try, only try. Jason gets up there and drains this putt. $5,000.
Oh my goodness.
You immediately had to give $2,500 of it to the American Heart Association for winning. That was a term of the contest. And then
what's the point?
Yeah,
well, that's so weird.
Well, Jason's such a good guy. I think he gave it all to him.
Sure. I mean, but like, it's like
Jason just donated it all. He's like, look, I don't need that money. I'm not going to have any air conditioning issues in the next few years that I'm aware of.
Dude, I would have bought some
good.
Trump branded teas if I was him.
So let me tell you what. So here's the story that is this is a hard one to tell. So we played a tournament one weekend, and if I'm not mistaken, there were 3 9-hole matches. So they paired you up with someone who were supposedly of similar skill. And you do that by turning in your handicap and all that. And that's kind of, not always honor system, but if you keep up with your handicap, it's published. And
I know
it's
almost
how bad
nothing
you are.
about golf. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're a
How do
pro,
you
you
track
have no
that?
handicap. You're called scratch.
Okay.
And so every time you play, you enter your score on the
Like the
handicap
previous
index,
one?
the GHIN, which is a national
Oh.
or it may be international database. And they say, okay, if you played on this course on this day, the course is this difficulty, and you shot this here, we're going to apply a handicap measure to you.
Okay.
Dang.
So my
That sounds
handicap,
really complicated.
my handicap in my lifetime has probably been as low as a 6, and today it's like a 13. But I'm probably playing more like a 9 or a 10 right now.
Okay.
So at the time, I can't remember what my published handicap was, but I was I was paired against 3 guys. And it'd probably be better if I said I was paired against 2 guys and a girl, but I think they were all guys. I do not remember the first match. I just remember getting beat. Like, and it was probably like, I probably got stomped. Like, it was probably like 5 and 4, like 5 holes. I can't come back. I'm beaten. Well, that's okay, right? That golfer's probably really, really good. Well, the next person I get paired with, I think was 9 years old.
Oh my God.
He might have been 11, but he was good. Like, he was a pretty good golfer. He was out there playing a lot and all that. But like, I'm an adult. I've been playing many, many years.
Yeah.
It's
a 9-year-old.
He beat me.
Oh my God.
So, like, my friends are already like, dude, you are a head case. Like, if you can't go out there and beat these guys, this is bad. Well, my third match was against a man who was probably 78 or 79 years old. And he's like, maybe like 6'1", probably weighs about 290 pounds. Like, he is not a picture of fitness. And he's 79 years old. And we go out there, and it comes down. I think I do want to say I played him to the last hole. I may not have. We had to have, because this all happened on the last hole. He beats me. I lose this guy, and we get on the 9th hole. He sinks his putt to beat me, and he goes up, and when he goes to get the ball out of the hole, he drops to his knees in agony and starts like wailing out, like, oh. And
What in the world?
I'm like, he is having a heart attack. Like, he's dying. Like, on the course, it's the excitement
Why
of
are you
beating.
laughing, Sam?
It's the excitement of beating
No, I
me.
just thinking.
Like,
agony of the-
but
I was
just
just thinking, like, Eule can't even like beat a dead man.
well,
Or,
yeah,
like, a
that's
dying
what my
man.
friends say, Sam. So-called friends.
So,
And I'm literally thinking this guy is dying right here on the 9th hole. But then I'm thinking, what a way to go. If I'm 79
way.
and I sink the
No,
putt.
Yule's like, if he dies, who's number 2
Ooh.
here? It's like, oh, that's me.
Well, no, he was in the hole, so that would not be a forfeit, even if he died. So he
takes
dropped
his
down,
ball out
and
and
I,
throw it.
being the good Samaritan that I am, I literally run to him. Are you okay? Do I need to call an ambulance? He goes, it's my knee. My knee gave out. Oh, my knee. And he's like, oh, laid out on the
Go
course.
get me a Bud Light.
So the bad thing was, it wasn't a heart attack. Not only could I not beat an 11-year-old or 9-year-old, whatever, 7, whatever he was, I couldn't beat a 79-year-old man with a bum knee.
collapsed.
Yeah, this 79-year-old literally had a handicap, and the handicap was,
literally.
I'm crippled.
Not just a golf handicap, a physical. He had a placard in his car. So that's how bad I am. Yep, that's me.
So the only
in a
thing that I
nutshell.
could potentially go pro in, like, just I'm not a very professional at anything. Like, I'm kind of a
You're a
little bit of the jack of all
smooth and slippery
trades. Yeah,
producer.
no, I can produce some stuff. Even that, like, again, you always have that person that you're just like, how they know that so much better. Anyway, I am really good at laser tag, like, really good. Like,
I can see that.
Your average, even maybe some people that are half decent, like, just put them all. I'm gonna win.
I tell you what, I would.
I could actually see that in you.
So
I would
got a
take
story.
all average bettors on
Yeah.
Golden Tee. Now,
what?
look, if you just play Golden Tee for a living, I don't want to play you if you've won the Golden Tee
this
tournament.
is.
I don't even know what
It's
this
it's
is.
a video game, golf game, stand up like arcade,
Oh.
little roller ball on it. Little
Is that like a
rollerball.
Dave and Buster's?
Yeah, dude.
I've seen that.
I can't be beaten.
Do they have laser tag
So-
at Dave & Buster's?
I don't think they do.
Yeah, it's $99
So-
for 15 minutes.
So get this.
Plus, you've got to rent your equipment.
So there's this one time that me and my wife and some of her friends, we all went out and played laser tag. There's some other people
So
in the
it's you and a
group.
bunch of women. Got it.
No, women,
I can
men,
beat anybody.
women, men, and I just like I was. So for me, it's like, okay, if I'm getting a tag or a kill or whatever you want to call it, like every if I'm doing it every 5 seconds, and if I can just keep that pace up, like, that's good. I'm going to get a high score. So I'm just hustling. Like, I'm like diving around.
Men throwing themselves in front of their wives to save them from Sam.
Here comes Sam. Run.
I'm laying down at some points and peeking out. Like, I go all out.
Sam shoots the women and then goes and hits them in the head with the
So
butt of his
I
gun.
win the first round. I'm knifing them. No, I win the first round by just some obscene margin. Like, the next person's just like 50% my score. Next game, there's some kids come in, and I'm like, I'm still gonna win this next one. And again, I'm getting a tag at least every 10 seconds, like realistically every
Tactical
10
goggles on.
seconds. Yeah. So every 10 seconds, I'm like tagging somebody. But I'm hustling. I'm out of breath. Like I'm taking it seriously. We get to the final score. I'm like, I'm gonna win again. This kid is double my score. This kid, and he had like the little glow stick things all over him, and like he was pretty tricked out.
Wow.
But I was hustling. There's no way this kid beat me. That's ridiculous.
Now you know how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
So I connected with
Sam,
you losing to a 9-year-old.
Coming to a food city near you. I'm just kidding. That was too soon.
Hey, did I send this to you too, James, the other day? The picture of someone had put all their cameras on a bed.
I love that.
It's like they just made it look,
they made it look like an AR-15.
And they're like, I can't believe anybody could shoot with these. Like I can't believe people are allowed to shoot with these.
Yeah, or anybody would feel like.
So all the comments are like, yeah, my cousin shot a whole wedding party one time with those. It's just a bunch of like high end cameras and lenses.
But they did a good job. Like even if you look at it closely, it's pretty good.
Wait, it looks like there's guns on the bed.
It looks
like an AR.
They arranged all the cameras to where it looked like an AR-15, and so like the scope is like
and they come out.
lens.
They come out on it just enough that you've got to look closely to realize it's a bunch of Nikon lenses. But they put it on there and just to elicit responses, which they do. It says, "Why would anyone in the whole United States be allowed to own?
Yeah, why would you need that
on this? Why would anyone need this?" And so, like about half the comments are like, ban them all, ban assault right. Like people get all crazy about it, but then people start saying,
then people are like,
yeah, I agree. Like I got shot by one of those one time. Or, my wife's shooting people all the time with that, and so
when our baby was born, we shot every day. We just shot it. We shot the whole house up.
I need to find the thread for you.
Dude, that's so funny. Well, what's funny about that is I had a friend that was in photography. Shout out to Zachary Cross. I'll just shout him out. He's a pretty much a professional photographer in Chattanooga. It's taken some of the best photos of Chattanooga that I've ever seen, and he did it when he was like 16.
Wow!
So he's really prolific photographer. Anyway, but we'd talk about photography and stuff, and I'd be like, yeah, that's like a lot of the lingo is the same as guns. Like there's like different. We came up with all these different
chambers.
Yeah, there's chambers. There's
stocks.
Action. Is there an action term?
Oh yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Exposure.
Well, that's true.
Aperture.
Yeah, everything was just very similar. Like that's true. All the gear and stuff, it's just very similar.
Carrying case,
you're right. Yeah.
So Eule, I've got a
hello.
Have you ever gotten a hole in one?
Once.
Really?
One time.
Wow.
Okay. Let me tell these. Not many of them. A hole in one should be this illustrious thing, like it's a great day
career
to celebrate.
defining.
You buy drinks for everyone. Yeah. You frame the ball. You put it in a trophy case.
Wow.
You put the date on it and all this. My hole in one came at a course here in Chattanooga called Concord, that we also affectionately call Concrete. It is a goat ranch. I mean, it is a goat ranch. It's not like I got this thing at Council Fire or at,
right.
The
but a hole in one's a hole in one, right?
It's a hole in one. 105-yard flat par 3. I hit a sand wedge, which was a 52-degree wedge, if I recall correctly.
Wow.
And hit it right on line. It hit approximately 4 to 6 feet in front of the hole. Took a couple of ounces, rolled in the hole in one.
That's amazing. Can you see it when you hit a hole in one?
I did that one. Yeah, it was flat. Saw that one pretty easily. However, on 3 occasions in my life, I have holed out for eagle from further than 105 yards. I did that once at Bear Trace on a par 4, with not a great shot. It was the hole was it was a long, deep green. I remember that. I can't remember the hole number. It's been a long time since I played out there, and hit a. I was about to hit and I used to play just hit the center of the green, right? Just try to hit the middle of the green and then have a putt at it. And I realized, man, that pin's in the back and this is a really deep green. So I took one more club, which was the wise thing to do, but I didn't hit it good. I kind of hit it thin, like, you know what that means, Sam? Like I didn't hit it solid. I kind of like,
you
hit
like
it hard, but it's
kind
of low and hard, it's not typically a good shot, except for this one hit the front of the green, and I bet it rolled 90 feet, dropped in the hole.
Nice.
So that was an eagle. And then at that course I was telling you about in Tuscaloosa.
Okay, so that's technically still a hole in one, but it didn't like sink into it, or what are we talking
No,
about?
it's not a hole in one, but it is a.
If it rolls in the hole, that's not a hole in one.
Well, this is on a par 4. This is my second shot.
Yeah, this is the second shot.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So, so I've only done
does that not count?
I've only done that on a par 3 one time.
Okay.
But on 3 occasions on par 4s, actually one of them was a par 5, and it was my third shot. That was on hole 10. No, was that 10? Yeah, that was hole 10 at the Harry Pritchett. Chad, you'll remember this one. So, kind of dogleg left, got to hit up there. I probably had to punch out because I probably hit in the woods, and hit my third shot in. And then the next hole was hole 11, and I think that was probably within a month of each other. I hit a good ball right down the middle, and it was you couldn't see this one go in because there's a bunker in front of it that was kind of raised, but I knew I hit it good and got up there and didn't see it.
Nice.
Looked and it was in the hole.
So I don't play golf currently. I mean, I've gone out with some friends, like, just periodically. I played a lot when I was in college. I majored in business, so I didn't have as much time as you did, Eule. I was reading and studying a lot.
Business time.
But I did have a dream the other day. Maybe we can analyze some dreams sometimes on a podcast. I don't know. But I had a dream out of the blue that I was on a golf course, and I was with a bunch of guys, and I hit a hole in one, like a really good shot. And then in my dream, the next thing I remember was I remember like being like elated, right? Like I'd hit this hole in one. And I go back to the clubhouse and I like report my hole in one. And the lady starts like, like celebrating and like she's doing all this paperwork. She goes, "Oh, by the way, who are your witnesses?"
Ooh.
And I was like, "I don't have any witnesses." Like,
Father, Son, and Holy Ghost.
all my friends were off like looking at something else. Like nobody saw it. So
Didn't count.
What do you guys? I mean, what does that mean? Like seriously, I'm needing help.
And
here.
you want us to analyze that dream?
What was that?
The best. I mean, my gut tells me this. So you need to get on the golf course in a hurry with me. Can we play today? What are you doing this morning?
I'm working today. I have a top secret job. So.
Top secret.
Yeah, but it's just like I hit this hole in one and nobody saw it. Maybe that means I do a lot of really good stuff and nobody gives me credit for it.
There you go. Sam, I think you mentioned before we did this podcast that you would be good at putt-putt. Have you seen the show on TV called Holy Moly?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you'd like it. I think you'd be a great Holy Moly contestant.
Oh yeah.
They it's kind of it's the combination of putt-putt and Wipeout.
Oh,
what's Wipeout? Kind of like the ninja thing?
Yeah, where
American
they go through and they're
It's
trying
not
to knock
quite
him in
as
the water.
intense as the ninja because you don't need as much physical skill. It's more like all those padded things that are like knocking you off platforms.
Oh, okay.
You're having to jump from
So
platform
similar,
to
that's
platform.
what this is you play putt-putt, but you also have to run through some obstacles and get knocked in the water.
My gosh,
And
that
you're
sounds
just like, you'd be the
amazing.
perfect guy for that.
That sounds amazing.
You could
How do I
probably
do it?
wear your
How do I do
tactical
it?
gear. And
Go out there with your laser tag gun.
we should write him and say, look, we've got a famous producer. He's got the gear for it. He has to look for it. Like this is your guy.
We can go to Goodwill and get him.
He'll take it
putter.
way too
We can find a putter.
seriously. Like he'll take it way seriously than he needs to.
I when I was in high school, my parents let me start driving when I was 14, and I had to pass the police station, and it was kind of scary, like to me, because I've told y'all when I graduated high school, I weighed 127 pounds. Imagine what I looked like when I was 14. Like
like a little beanpole.
I wasn't even skin and bones. I was just skin. And but anyway, I was accustomed to driving, and I got pretty confident in driving just in my county. Like okay. But you didn't want to cross the river. Like I didn't want to get over into Lauderdale County and, not know anybody and get pulled over when I was 15 or whatever. But I was on the golf team, and Coach Bob Laxton, who is also the wrestling coach, and our driver's ed teacher was the golf coach.
And he also taught Bible.
And by the way, he's a horrible golfer. I don't know how he got that job. He's a great wrestler, but a horrible golfer. He'll admit that. And so anyway, we had a match in Florence at a place called Sky Park, and I had been on a field trip or something that day with the school, and I knew we'd be back at a certain time, but I knew I also had to get at that golf course to tee off by a certain time. And it was in Lauderdale County. So I had to cross the river, and I'm having to fly. Dude, I'm like so nervous because I'm underage driving. Plus, I'm having to just fly. I hope I don't get a ticket or get pulled over.
Wait, so you didn't have a license?
No.
Okay.
Mom and Dad were just too busy to drive me around.
Yeah, and you're
everywhere.
14 years old.
I was
That's
probably
funny.
15 at this time.
Love it.
And so
These kids.
I get to, could you imagine
this
today
based.
letting a kid do
Well,
that?
that was me. I was driving around when I was well, sorry if my mother and father listen to this podcast.
No, my 14 and 15 was with parental, not only permission, but encouragement. Like, we don't have time, so you just move on. And so, but anyway, I get to Sky Park, and everyone's already teed off, and they know I'm coming. They're waiting on me. And, you know,
Comes in
pull
there
up,
sideways, drifting into the golf course.
pretty much. And Coach Laxton looks at me. He's just got this scowl, like, dude, just hurry up. Like, you know, like, and so I pull in, and he's like, get up here and hit, Glenn. I was like, all right. And I start putting my golf shoes on. He goes, put your golf shoes on after you hit. Like, just get up here and hit. And so I get up there, like rushed, maybe take one practice swing, tee it up, and I hit the ball off the heel of the driver, and it goes between my legs. And he just looked. I mean, it's like Bad News Bears on the golf course. He goes,
He's going to put you in a chokehold right there in the
hey, I
tee.
bet he wanted to. Because that other coach is standing there watching too, you know. And he'd probably say, just wait on him. It's my A player.
They're probably
you know.
from like the rich, like, you know, prestigious school in another
Right,
part of town. They're
Bradshaw.
like, what's wrong with these kids?
Yeah, my A player be here. Just hang on. Like, and I hit it between the legs. He goes, tee it up again, Glenn. And then I hit one, you know, good and parred the hole, except for I had to count that stroke plus a penalty, I think. So I got a 6. And he actually told me you didn't have to record that, but I did. Talking about, you know, not cheating. And so I saw Coach Laxton this past summer at Tennessee Valley Golf and Country Club. I mean, I graduated in 93, so what years? It's almost, 30 years ago?
That's been 29 years ago,
Dang.
and don't ask me how I know that.
So this event
Sam's
was 30
birth
years
year.
ago.
That was my birth year.
So this event was 30 years ago because this was not my senior year. This is more like my freshman year. And he ended up, so I see him at this golf tournament last year at the member guest at Tennessee Valley Country Club, and he told that story on me.
Oh, that's funny.
For 30 years. He remembered it.
That's awesome.
So, guys, that is my golf history.
This is why you had to
And,
do a podcast.
And I'm glad to get that off my chest. I will go and continue to try to get better. I'm not going to tell you that there aren't going to be new stories that develop that I can't tell.
Well, we can't say this, though. So, Mrs., you'll be back if you're listening. This is the last time you ever have to hear these golf stories. They're retired.
These are
They're
vaulted.
done.
These are vaulted, and if you ever catch me telling them again and you heard me say this on the podcast, call me out and I'll shut right up.
Well, thanks for listening to the Have Y'all Heard About This podcast. Make sure you share this with your friends.
Sure.
I know you've been probably getting a lot of requests for the Pook's hot sauce or white sauce, so let's keep those coming.
Oh, man, my email has blown up.
It's
on
the best
white
sauce on the planet.
Yep. So
Alabama white sauce is
For
off
those
the
of
chain.
you that I've emailed back, enjoy. Let me know how you like it on your grilled chicken.
Alrighty.
Email us at hyhatpodcast@gmail.com.
Over and out.
The Have Y'all Heard About This podcast is produced by Play It By Ear Audio. Leave us a review, like us, rate us, or subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use. If you wish to contact us or you have a suggestion for the show, email us at hyhatpodcast@gmail.com.